Hi, Kerry from Best of Us Investors here in Birmingham, Alabama. Did a video earlier this month where I said that the stock market is probably going to show you a 20 to 40% correction before Christmas. And I realized they're going to do it in the form of a roller coaster. They're not going to take all the 20% at one time. They took from my portfolio probably about 15% in the last 8 trading sessions. And now today they gave me back about 4% of it. In fact, in some of my biotech stocks, I'm up as much as 14% today. So what they're going to do is give it and take it in the ability to manipulate the market so that they make their numbers. That you can see that in a video I did earlier this past week, I believe it was. So as a result of that, we were having our tribe meeting. I have a tribe. We call it's Best of Us Investors, and we meet at our Discord every Friday. We have a conversation, and in that conversation, Judy's a novice trader. She's been doing it for about a year, and she says, "Why do I always lose money in the stock market? Why is everything always red?" And I said to Judy, "Well, let me ask you a question, Judy, and we're going to call this the Judy analogy, and you'll hear it a number of times because I think it's so important." I said, let's assume last September I came to you and said, rather than invest in the stock market, you give me $10,000 and I'll get you an at bat at the World Series. And you're going to go up again against Max Fried, known as the Maximus. I think that comes from the movie The Gladiator. And if you can get a base hit, you get 3 strikes. If you can get a base hit, I'll give you $1 million. Would you take it? And she said, no, I wouldn't do that. There's no way I could get a hit off of a professional baseball pitcher. And I said, well, then why do you think you can get a hit off of a professional trader, the Wall Street Group? Why do you think you can make money on that? They're professionals, just like the Maximus is a professional. He's trained all his life to make sure you don't get on first base. That's the same thing Wall Street's done. They have trained all their life with one purpose in mind, to take the money out of your pocket. So why are you playing the game with them? Don't do it. There's a better way, and that is to play a different game in their ballpark. Play chess. Get the Maximus into the stands and play him at chess, but be better at chess than he is. That's what I propose, is that we play a game of the long game. We look and see where in the past to give us an indication where we can invest today relative to the future. And that's what I want to share with you today. I want to share with you that most financial advisors would tell you, invest diversified. Invest 80% of your portfolio in the S&P 500 and then 20% in bonds or CDs. I don't go along with that. And I'm going to show you why I don't go along with it and how you can be a better investor if you just focus on some specific areas, okay? So that's what we're going to do in this video. We're going to expel your belief, like Judy, that you can beat the professionals at their game, all right? So stick with me. This is not financial advice. Don't get me wrong. This is financial education and entertainment. This is going to be entertaining. Stick to the end. You'll say, that was entertaining. Be right back with you.
Best of Us Investors presents Kerry Griegmeyer.
Okay, my premise is you can beat the S&P 500 easily if you'll just focus on a few stocks. we're going to call them the Big Six. The Big Six is Apple, Google, NVIDIA, Microsoft, Amazon, and Facebook. If you will focus on those 6 stocks, what I'm going to propose is that you can buy those 6 stocks and then go on vacation for 5 years. And on that vacation, study, just read for 5 years, and then come back, and then you can probably beat the Wall Street professionals at their own game. Let me show you a chart that I created on TradingViews. This is a service that I subscribe to because it gives me the ability to create a history that educates me. You'll find a link to it in the description, and you can get a discount, and you can do this kind of thing as well. So watch this. This is a TradingViews, tradingviews.com chart, and as you can see, it's a weekly chart of the S&P 500, and I've gone back 5 years to give it tracking. This jagged line of green and red is the S&P 500. What I wanted to do was compare it to what I call the Big Six, and that is Apple, Amazon, Google, Microsoft, NVIDIA, and Facebook, and show you the performance of those 6 stocks that I think are, and Kathy Woods thinks, are equivalent to cash as far as safety is concerned, and show you the performance relative to the S&P 500. And the reason I chose the S&P 500 is whenever someone says you need to diversify your portfolio, and a good way to diversify is to buy the S&P 500 and kind of leave it alone, and you'll get a 8 to 10% return over the next 5 years. Well, you can see if you had bought the Big Six, and I'll go through each one of them: Facebook, Google, Amazon, Microsoft, Apple, and then NVIDIA. Rather than the S&P 500, you would have done quite well. Judy would have done quite well. She would not be in the red now. Now, part of what Judy's problem is, and I think a lot of people's problem is, well, they're $300 stocks. They're $3,000 stocks. I just can't afford that much of a stock. Well, I think you're misinterpreting. Whether you own a $3,000 stock or a $3 stock, if it goes up 10%, your investment total of, say, $10,000 goes up 10%. It doesn't matter whether it's in a $3 stock or a $3,000 stock. So if you've only got $10,000, spread it amongst the Big Six. If you have to buy fractional shares, spread it amongst the Big Six, and then go on vacation for the next 5 years. Because these are the stocks that are going to take you into the future and are going to benefit from the things that are going to change in the future and are going to make you wealthy. Now, if you want to then, while you're on vacation, read the books that I suggest and start with The Accidental Superpower and move through The Future is Faster Than You Think, and then get into The Code Breaker and learn about biotech or whatever your focus is, that's okay. But in the next 5 years, you'll do quite well if you just buy the Big Six. And then educate yourself so that you can become an astute investor and then go looking for the exponential growth stocks. Let's look a little deeper into that. Okay, why do I choose those 5 stocks or 6 stocks based on the past history as opposed and have confidence that they'll give me similar performance in the next 5 years? Well, if you then go back to the performance of the stock market as a whole for my lifetime, you will see in this chart that the market is driven by events. That is to say that when we came in awareness of the internet back in, it was called the World Wide Web then, back in '89, that internet produced companies like Microsoft and Apple. And they are in the big six. Okay? So that created that. The next event was that of e-commerce. That produced Amazon. The next event was social media. That produced Facebook. We've now since had an event called electric vehicles, which has produced Tesla. And now we're going into the events of Medicare, or what I prefer to call Medicure, and the metaverse. And then another event is that of the broken supply chain. But I want to focus on the medical care and the metaverse. How are my big six going to play in that? Let's talk about medical care. Do you remember the interview? I've talked about it many times with Jim Cramer and Tim Cook. It was in, I believe, January or July of 2019. And Tim Cook asked Jim to tell him, what do you think you will remember Apple for in 2035? And Tim said, well, I guess maybe the earbuds or the iPad or the iPhone. He said, no, you'll remember us for medical care. What's that about? That's about the watch, the Apple Watch. It's about the wearables. Our awareness of our health is now trackable through data, through my watch tells me what my heartbeat is every moment of the day that I wear it, even while I'm asleep. Tells me my body temperature. What it's looking for is variations so that it can alert me as things might happen to me into the future. It takes my data, compares it to billions of other people's data, and it then gives it artificial intelligence, and then will give me through my phone an alert before I have a stroke, an alert before I have a heart attack, an alert before cancer takes over my body. That's what Apple's going to do. How are they going to be able to do that? NVIDIA's going to give them artificial intelligence chips to analyze their data. Who has the data? Microsoft and Amazon and Apple and Google. So those stocks, those big six, are going to take me into the future. So I can go on vacation for 5 years and just own those stocks, and I'll be fine. How about the metaverse? Well, again, who's going to create the metaverse? Who created the apps that are on your phone? Who gave you those apps? Apple and Google. Who do you think are going to give you the apps or the platforms to enter the metaverse? Probably Apple and Google. Whose chips are going to make that possible? NVIDIA. Whose data is going to make that possible? Microsoft and Amazon and Apple and Google. So I can go on vacation now for 5 years and only own those stocks. But wait, those stocks are too expensive, Carrie. Amazon's over $3,000 a share. Google's over $1,000 a share. Let me explain something about basic math. If you have $10,000 invested in, let's say, 10 stocks, $10,000 in 10 stocks, and all of those stocks have a price tag of less than $5 a share, and they go up 15%. You make the same amount of money if you have your $10,000 invested in Apple, Google, Amazon, Microsoft, NVIDIA, and Facebook. Same amount. The only difference is there's a lot of risk associated with those $3 stocks, $5 stocks. There's not much risk associated with the big six. So if you know that, you now have a plan to invest and go on vacation and read. Now, why do I say that? Because I want you to come back after the 5 years and be the smartest guy at the table. What do I mean by that? If you go to Las Vegas and you walk through the slot machines and the blackjack tables and the roulette tables, and in that back room they have a poker table. There's going to be 10 people sitting at that table. If you take the next 5 years and you just study poker and you just become extremely good at it, you will sit down at that table and you will be one of the 3 smartest guys at the table. So you now can win. If you, in fact, don't study for the next 5 years and you go to Las Vegas now and sit at that table, there's one patsy at the table, and it's you. They're going to take your money away from you. You're in Wall Street. Whether you're at a poker table or you're in a baseball game batting against Maximus, you're the patsy. Unless you educate yourself. And I want you to start your education with this book. It's The Accidental Superpower. It's going to tell you how our world got to where we are and why we are where we are. And it's going to give you an insight as to where we're going. We're right now competing to retain our status as the superpower. China's doing everything it can. And it says by 2042, which is the 50th anniversary of the modern day Communist Party, it will be the dominant economic, political, and military force in the world. If you don't understand this, you can't invest in the economy. Then I want you to read this book. The future is faster than you think. It's going to open a window and show you what the world's going to look like in the next 20 years. You need to know that. Then I want you to read this book. This is Amy Webb's The Big Nine. It's going to explain what artificial intelligence and machine learning is going to do to our world. Okay? And then I want you to read The Code Breaker. The Code Breaker is going to educate you on the biotech world, the world that is going to take disease out of our body, the world that is going to extend our lifespan, to make us such that there is no disease in our body and our only worry becomes one of replacing the parts. If you'll do that, if you'll invest in the Big Six, go on vacation for 5 years and read, and then keep up with how China is going to take over our status as the superpower, you'll come back and you'll know more. Then what I want you to do is to read my book. This is Find Happiness by Discovering Who You Are and What You Are. And what I'm going to do is teach you how to take that unwanted roommate out of your head that says, you can't do that. You're not smart enough. No, you're not smart enough. But if you can get that unwanted roommate, that's the same person in your head that you told you when you were a junior in high school, you can't ask him or her out, or your classmates will laugh at you. You can't become president of that company. You're not smart enough. Get rid of that person, replace it with this knowledge, and put a coach in your head that says, you're the smartest guy in the room. That's what I believe. I believe I understand this stock market better than 99.9% of the people in the world. That's not saying a lot, but that's what I believe. Why? Because I don't have an unwanted roommate who tells me, you can't read, you're dyslexic, which is true, but I discovered Audible. So I listen to all these books before I buy them and listen to them again as I look at the words. And now my head absorbs that knowledge, and I'm one of the smartest guys in the room. Now, that's your challenge. That's my challenge to you. Then I would ask you, don't go this alone. You need to join a team. You need to create a support group that you can go to at least once a week and say, I have this question. This is something that I'm puzzled about. Can you help me? That's what I call the tribe. This is another book that I and Colin wrote that explains the concept of coming together as a group and understanding the stock market and sharing our knowledge so that we can compete with the Maximus. That's Wall Street. So that we can get a base hit, but we're playing with a bigger bat. We're not playing with a bat that big. We're playing with a bat this big. I don't care where you put that ball, Maximus. I'm going to hit it because I got a bat the size of a 4x8 piece of plywood. Okay? That's my theory on investing. It's working. Now, as someone said, your biotech stocks aren't doing very well. Your 3D printing stocks aren't doing well. No, because I'm still buying into the future. And the past has not caught up with me yet. I'm the smartest guy in the room, and they don't know what I know. And I want to share it with you. And I want to make you the smartest guy in the room. And I want to help you achieve 3 things. Make good investment decisions. Learn to keep more of what you make by understanding the tax code. I sold some things yesterday in order to capture some capital losses. And then learn how to create family wealth by investing in companies of the future that are going to make your children and your grandchildren equivalent with the Kennedys, the Carnegies, the Fords, the people the philanthropists of this world, the Warren Buffetts. Look at Warren. He's not a genius. He just read while you weren't reading. All right, that's my rant for the day. Go on vacation and read. All right, talk to you again tomorrow. Do keep coming back.